game.
And there we go.
Now we see, it's working. We see the picking screens of Via on the top and Nexus on the bottom. And it's Warrior versus Hunter. So we already have the first Hunter here. And this is Via's view. For everyone, you can see it on the right. You can see there the view, the score, and everything. And when the screen swaps, you can actually see the view of the other person.
And the first thing we can already notice is that Nexus plays with a cane shot. So it's still a Sunshine Hunter, but normally we didn't see a cane shots in there.
Yeah, it seems to be a different version here, since we get double bow, and normally we only have a single bow. That's the first thing that surprises me, to see double eagle horn bow and arcane shot, obviously. But it might turn out useful here against Control Warrior. And well, Via started here with an armor smith, just armors up and well does what a warrior does here. And you can still see his cards if you question yourself, why the hell are his cards almost invisible? That's just due to some poor recording of the player. He still managed to send in a recording. That's awesome. Thank you, sir. but it's still not as good as we would like it to be.
Yeah, but we will have that fixed during the next weeks. Like, people have to learn to record stuff, because that's, at the moment, that's the only way we can broadcast this show, because there is no spectator mode.
There's no spectator mode. We have to ask those players, like, we're live here. This isn't recorded, because we wouldn't do any mistakes then. This is live, and the games are pre-recorded. So we are casting some pre-recorded games here. We haven't both watched, because that would be super boring for us too. It's like we're not telling you. It would be boring for us to watch games we watched already. And well, it's looking good for Via here. He already has Frothing Berserker out, Armor Smith. That's a pretty good start. If that deadly shot from Nexus is like missing, that would be annoying.
Well, apparently he's not going for the deadly. He wants to cane shot it. Like, first of all, use his bow and then a cane shot the Frothing Berserker, because he wants to get rid of it. And there are multiple ways to play the Control Warrior. Frothing Berserker is just one. You obviously have the option to go for Yeti, because he has a 5 HP instead of 4, which makes you more safe versus spells like Swipe, for example.
You could absolutely play that, like, as you say. Main problem against a Hunter is he would have killed it anyways in this case. And Via is doing a good thing here. He's just armoring up, armoring up, armoring up. He doesn't need to play a lot of minions. He just needs one minion to constantly deal some damage. And, well, get armor every turn, at least 2, to negate, like, the passive of Nexus here.
And as we see, if you have a lot of armor, you can also use your shield slam to get board control. And as a Control Warrior, that's all you need to have. You need to get into the late game where you can play your Ragnaros or your Ysera and deal a huge amount of damage.
And now he needs to deal with Misha. You cannot leave likes like Misha alive. He could Houndmaster it even up to make it a 6/6. He could just play Timberwolf, get 1 damage more. That's just 4 damage on the board he needs to deal with. The problem is, if he thinks about, we see an execute in his hand. If he thinks about execute, he knows I execute here. There is a Savannah high main maybe, because turn 6 is incoming. And that's why I would be like, maybe play my Fury Win-X he has in hand and kill Misha with a Slam Win-X and keep my execute for late game, because we see here Savannah high main incoming, and if you Fury War-X that minion now, you're just gonna take 6 damage instead of 4 from that Misha.
Yeah, that's obviously way more damage, and we have the Death Rattle as well. So even if you kill it, you still have to deal with the two hyenas that spawn out of it.
But Via doesn't care. He just top decks the Shield Slam. It's good, and it's interesting to mark here. Via's not only playing Frothing Berserkers, he's also playing Yetis. So it's a really mid-range. I wouldn't say exactly mid-rangey version, but it has definitely more beef mid-game than a normal Control Warrior would have.
And we see he used the Whirlwind after playing the Acolyte, so he makes use of the card draw and the effect of the armor smith. So he armors up even more, which is always good against the hunter because you want to have the armor, you want to have the survivability, as we already mentioned. You need to get into the late game.
And I hope he kills both of those now. As we saw, he hovered over his cards and there was a Taskmaster. I guess he thinks about maybe playing Weapon or Taskmaster, or he didn't, he just armored up. And I don't like that move particularly, because you know there gotta be two. If you see a high main, you know he plays two Houndmasters, and you just take the risk of him playing a Houndmaster now, and he would get a 4/3 minion. Well, he can do 4 damage with it. Obviously, that's the highest amount of damage he can deal here. But you're just taking the risk of him getting that Houndmaster done.
And there we see, as you already mentioned, he plays the Houndmaster on the Hyena. And now he actually goes for the Timberwolf. No, he doesn't. That makes more sense. It makes way more sense to use your hero ability there, because if you didn't, you would miss out on 2 damage, and you can't afford that versus a warrior.
Did he just not attack? He attacked. I was like, did he just not attack with his hyena there? And well, Via has. We know there's a Fury Winex in his hand, so he can kill one of those minions. He can execute one if he wants to, but there are still 4 cards in your enemy's hand, so you should consider maybe not or yes doing it. There's one high main down, so second big minion is another high main. And if he doesn't have another high main, everything is okay here. And I guess he will run his armor smith in, and that's extremely good for him. He's down to 1 minion, and well, unleash, no value. Annoying stuff, well, deadly shot, obviously. That's the annoying point here.
Deadly shot is more or less the most brutal thing that can happen now, and it happens. But there are not that many options for Nexus left. Like, he's down to 4 cards. He has a kill command, but the warrior is just so healthy with his armor.
And that's what you're trying to achieve as a control warrior. You want to get that armor advantage. Work on your enemy not drawing cards and not having any kind of board advantage. Drawing yourself as many cards as possible, armoring up every turn. And now Via just has the upper hand. Even if there is Unleash, Buzzard coming, he still, well, he has no Whirlwind by now, but he still has Grimash, Taskmaster in his hand. So if you wonder what are his cards, that's Grimash. On the left, Taskmaster, Fury, Winex, and Shield Slam. So he can just go 12 damage Grimash.
Which is extremely deadly, as we know, because Nexus is already down to 21 HP, so Via has a big advantage.
And he doesn't even need to play his Taskmaster now. That's an explosive trap. If he goes Grimash, he just charges it up himself, and he actually draws 2 cards. That's pretty good. 1 card. I was like 2 cards. He actually draws a card. Both minions die. Doesn't matter. He even drew Ragnaros. So he can just play Ragnaros now, armor up, 8 damage, and next turn just win with Grimash.
Yep, really well played by Via there.
That
and yeah,
like
he made, I think he made the right decision there, not to attack with Grimash, not charge in, because you never know what you're gonna get with the card draw from the Acolyte. So he chose to use the explosion trap to get more card draw. And yeah, he got the Ragnaros, which dropped Nexus down to 10 HP. And right now, as you guys can see, it's looking pretty grim.
I guess it wouldn't make a difference in the end. The thing is, Ragnaros hits him 100%, as you say. So if he plays it now, if he would play it now, he wouldn't be entirely sure that Ragnaros hits the face. Well, it gets killed now. Doesn't matter since he has Grimash flying around. Wow, he draws a lot of cards. Double Buzzard is super annoying. And the misdirection, that's pretty strong actually. He can save his own ass here.
Is he gonna use Unleash with Hunter's Mark? Yep. It seems like that's what he's going for. And he also utilizes his 2 Buzzards. So he got, plenty of value. I think he drew 7 cards or something this round.
Absolutely, and he has a freezing trap too, so Wow, that's a nice comeback. Well, in exclamation marks, comeback for Nexus. This is not good for Via. If he has no Whirlwind, which we know he doesn't have, that's gonna be trouble for him. Wow, he has an Izera even in his deck. You could just go for Izera Awakens, like full risk mode. The good thing is you cannot kill Izera like that. It's a 4/12 minion. But he has 2 kill commands in his hand. This is extremely potent. Look at his board. It's by now, if everything survives, it's 4, 8, 10, 12, bow, 13, 12, 15 with a bow, with hero ability 17, plus 10 damage from the 2 kill commands, plus Houndmaster. He cannot do it.
Nah, he can't.
But he can use both kill commands. That's 27 damage in theory.
That's a shit ton of damage.
Wow. And we know Via has a shield block. He could just go for Whirlwind. Armor Smith, that's not good. We know he has a Taskmaster in his hand. He could just ping one buzzard down, kill the other buzzard with his Fiery War Axe to just prevent more card draw, because as the more card Nexus draws, the more options he gets.
And he actually chose to attack the hunter with the Fury War Axe.
Well,
and now he could use his Shield Slam to just get rid of the buzzards, if he wants to.
I would definitely kill one buzzard, but I would kill it with a Taskmaster. Worst case scenario, he blows a lot of damage in your face and you could still Shield Slam your own Grimash for 10 damage. That's a possibility, not something you want to do. This is really annoying, since you want to diminish every card draw your enemy could get. And he plays an Armor Smith too. I guess he really wants to get in killing range with his stuff on the board. And if he attacks with, for example, the Armor Smith, that one gets... Now he has 7 damage with Grimash. So if he attacks with 1 minion, or if he's able to attack with 1 minion and burns that freezing trap, that's super good for him.
Yeah, we see that Nexus has 2 taunts now, and he can kill the Armor Smith, which is really good.
He gets Misha, which is like the #1 minion you really want to have now, and there's even a misdirection in his hands. This is super annoying.
Would you use Kill Command now rather than your hero ability?
I would use misdirection, just like super 100% safe mode, to avoid anything, any possible, I don't know, killing blow.
Let's see how Via deals with it. He has Geddon now, so he has 3 legendaries on his hand: Ysera, Grommash, and Geddon. What would you play now? Would you go for Ysera and hope for the Awakening draw? Because that would be insta GG.
The problem is, if he gets Ysera, if he plays Ysera, he will definitely take, if he's not killing the Timberwolf, he would definitely take 12, 15, 17 damage, and that's just too much. He can attack in the middle, play Geddon, armor up, and, well, there's still a Houndmaster left, but your enemy is down on 5 HP. That's good for him, and, well, Nexus is running more or less out of options.
Yeah, we see he draws another explosive trap. Uses tracking now. He needs to get more options, and those are not really options. He has to take the tracking pretty much.
And it's a pretty interesting version he plays here with Houndmasters and Leopard Gnomes and Arcane Shots. This is annoying. He really wants... He wants to have an Unleash, but he wants to have a Leroy Jenkins at the same time. So he wants to take both cards on the right, because that's the #1 combo. And this game was actually played pre-patch, if you see it.
2 mana on Unleash.
Why did we actually talk about the patch? This is week 1, day 2. Patch wasn't actually done on those games. Why didn't Broman stop me from talking nonsense?
Because Broman is not that much of a bro, apparently.
He's my nonsense stopper. But that's okay. So everything we said was incorrect. Week 2 of the Gentlemen Cup was actually played after the patch. So I was just talking gibberish and telling you some secret lies.
So we will see a shit ton of hunters. Be prepared, guys.
Okay, Leroy. Oh, but if you play Leroy, he definitely needs to get him with his kill command.
Yep. But he can't kill Geddon with the kill command, can he?
he can't. I was like, yeah, he has to, but it doesn't work.
Nope. And he drops more traps, because traps are amazing.
That's an explosive trap, a freezing trap, and a misdirection, if I'm correct.
Yeah, but freezing triggers first, then misdirection, then explosive. Because traps trigger in the way you place them. So he plays freezing first, if I'm not mistaken, and yeah, then misdirection and then explosive.
So that Drake gets freezing. Happens. And then he should attack the face. That Drake gets misdirected. But the funny thing is, it gets misdirected, and then the explosive goes off, and the misdirection fizzles. So actually, the misdirection should have been played after the explosive trap. So both Drakes die, and then Geddon gets redirected. And Nexus, well, he played a Hunter, but that's X'd out. He still has the option to go Warlock now. We said Zoo has definitely potential. Or maybe Druid, Ramp Druid, Token Druid, whatever he plays.
It could be a Token Druid as well. I think Token Druid would be really potent versus the Control Warrior now. But as we already talked about, like the Zoolock is the more common one to play against the Control Warrior.
But I would say, without many more words or a lot of more talk, we are just jumping right into the game here. And we see Nexus is playing
Handlock.
a Handlock with Big Game Hunter, which is actually, well, not unusual, but it's not 100% played in every Handlock. And Via starts, I hope he keeps that execute, but you never know. You don't want to keep your execute against, well, maybe a Zoolock, because your execute will be somehow useless. But in this matchup, he would be like, yeah, execute, awesome.
And we see Nexus has a Mountain Giant on his hand. He also has Ragnaros, which is more or less a dead card until turn 8. It is a dead card until turn 8. But it's okay, because he just wants to stack up on cards with those Azure Drakes, Twilight Drakes, etc. And the Mountain Giants, obviously.
And it's another unusual pick, actually, for the Handlock. This is not the common Handlock. This is like, I would call it a beef lock with even more beefy minion than just those giants. I would expect him to actually play a Cairn too, and maybe an Izera even. We will see during the game. And Via doesn't have a lot of options, actually. Well, Nexus will just draw, get his giant out early. And Via will armor up, or even drop some minions, but he knows. And if he doesn't know, he missed something. If your enemy starts drawing cards turn 2, you absolutely know that's going to be a Handlock. That's a Handlock, and this is the #1 indicator.
And next round, Nexus is already able to play the giant, the Mountain Giant, which is really, really strong, and I don't see an execute yet.
Well, execute can come every time, or, well, he has 2 Yetis too, which are actually okay. So he could run in 1 Yeti, he could run in another Yeti.
That was quite risky to use a Soulfire here. He had Ragnaros on his hand, Molten Giant, and Jiraxxus, and like, it's an unwritten rule. Whenever you have a lot of Jiraxxus on your hand and you play a Soulfire, it immediately takes away from you.
Well, you would say risky. He just says, I'm taking those chances. I mean, overall, it were 7 hand cards, 3 cards you don't want to lose. Yeah, I guess it's okay to take that risk. Even if a Molten Giant goes away, even if Jiraxxus goes away, it's still okay. And there is like Mountain Giant out now. He has a Whirlwind in his hand, but he didn't want to use it. That Giant attacks, gets healed up. This is #1 annoying thing.
Oh, nice. And he plays Suntree Protector, so he protects his life. Would you play the taunt yet? Because you want to drop to low HP, because then you can play a Molten Giant.
But you don't need to risk dropping to low HP against Control Warrior, since Control Warrior could Grimash in a rage, for example. This is #8. 14 damage play pretty much in a rage. No one plays it, but still in some universe you would need to count with it. The thing I wondered about what Nexus did, he just taunted up both minions. Like, he taunted up the 3-3-2, and now Via could attack the 3-3. He can trade back with his Sun Fury Protector, but I would have just tanked up, taunted up my Mountain Giant, so Via has no other option than just attack my Mountain Giant and leave my other minions alone. So he can just run his Yeti in here and not kill this 3-3 easy and maybe execute my minion.
And we see Via has a Brawl in his hand. Would you recommend playing it?
Not.
Or would you even, like, would you play, if you play it, would you play it now or go into the trade first with the 3-3?
I would not play it now. You want to play turn 10 if your enemy is like, oh yeah, 10 HP, Molten Giant, taunt up. And then you want to play your Brawl, but before that happens, you actually need to work with your other stuff. And I mean, he has an Acolyte of Pain in his hand, he has a Whirlwind. He could take that risk of drawing at least one card, at least two cards. His Armor Slam is, well, his Shield Slam is at the moment useless, exclamation marks, useless. He kind of needs Shield Block to make use of it.
He could trade now with the Shield Slam, and he decides to do so. Like, he wants to get rid of the Giant and uses Fury War X to kill the Earthen Ring Farseer. So he wants to get control over the board.
And that's correct. He played it well. I guess you could have waited and just see if your Brawl gets some more value. But it's absolutely okay to not, to just act here and then just like play from the defense. And there's the 4-7 Twilight Drake on the board. And Via still, he has a Gorehowl now. That's one turn too late. He cannot kill it now. He can definitely draw one card, get a Shield Block. Well, that Shield Block together with his Shield Slam, that would have been good.
Yeah, definitely would. He could have saved his Yeti that way, but he didn't have it by then.
And he wouldn't even have enough mana if he draws a card and then have it. That wouldn't be enough. It's okay what he has here in his hand to deal with your enemy's means. The most annoying thing is, and what you never expect, is just that Ragnaros incoming. it will definitely just be what just happened. Ragnaros, fuck.
Why? And it looks super, super good for Nexus. He doesn't, like, he has Ragnaros, still a Molten Giant, and Lord Directus on his hand. So Via is in trouble.
Via is in trouble. The most annoying problem for him is he could be baited in playing Gorehowl, kill that Twilight Drake, but next turn Ragnaros will come most likely. So if he just plays Gorehowl, waits a turn, and then plays a Brawl, there are more targets he could kill. Well, and he doesn't have to take those 5 damage. Well, he would take those 5 damage anyway. But I guess it would turn out a little bit better for him.
And he has a Siphon Soul, so that hurts. Via drops down to 9 HP. And now he has to Brawl, no matter what.
Oh, he has to Brawl, cross his fingers, and be like, oh gods, please aid me. RNGesus, do me a favor here, and definitely kill Ragnaros. The good thing is he has a Shield Block in his hand, so he can Brawl, kill the minion, and Shield Block. You have to fear Leroy Power Overwhelming in a handlock. And that was a super nice, I'd say a super nice Brawl. It kind of saved his ass here. He's gonna go down on 7, and he needs to Shield Block up. He cannot do anything else, or he's just too close to die.
Yeah, and what would you expect him to play now? Like, he definitely has to life tap, because there's not much he can do right now. And oh, that's more or less one wasted turn.
That's not good for him, but he has the combo in his hand. Turn 10, Molten Giant, Sun Fury Protector, not even turn 10. If he drops down to 14, he can already play them for 4. So he could play Molten Giant, Sun Fury anyways. The good thing here is Via has an Alexstrasza in his hand. He can just heal himself up now and will put an 8/8 minion on the board, which is just a big threat together with the Ragnaros. Because Via has a Ragnaros. You cannot see it, but I know it. There is, on the bottom left, there is Ragnaros besides Alexstrasza. He could play Alexstrasza, put a big threat on the board, and then next turn with Ragnaros, Alexstrasza actually deal 21 damage. In theory. If everything survives.
And I think he might just go for Karen and armor up. Yeah, that's what he does. He has still, like, he has an execute on his hand, so whatever Nexus chooses to play, he can get rid of it and still keep a 4/5 on the board.
Wow, and there's a 10 mana Molten Giant incoming. That feels like so wasty every time you do it. That just hurts yourself if you're forced to play.
I'm quite surprised by his decision to go for that, because he could have life tapped and used 2 mana and then but drop down, like he would lower the mana cost of the Molten Giant by 2 as well. So he could have drawn another card and played the Molten Giant.
But he would be down to 18. There's 9 damage on the board. Together with Grimash, that's 19. Together with Grimash and whatever, that's just too much damage. Well, and Via drops everything on the board here, minion-wise, he can in this turn. Just executes that minion, brings him down to 16. This is a super strong board now. I mean, that Berserker is just 6/3. He can play a Molten Giant, but if he plays a Molten Giant, he cannot play Siphon Soul anymore, even if he drains. So, and even if he plays Molten Giant and Sun Fury, there is that Amani Berserker on the board. Not Amani, there is a Frothing Berserker on the board that deals tremendous amounts of damage.
How much damage is on the board? 16 is on the board right now.
That's a lot.
He's in trouble.
I guess that's why he's thinking so long. Because he's in trouble. He wants to kill that Amani Berserker, but he's already, well, he would be on 19 with 10 damage still on the board. He would die to Grimash, and that's what you need to consider every time. I'm gonna die to Grimash if I don't take care.
The problem is, he could go for Mountain Giant Shadow Flame.
What would you do, guys? I would say as here Kai states, you could go Mountain Giant Shadow Flame. You could go Mountain Giant Taunt Up, cross your fingers and hope. The most annoying thing, even about Mountain Giant and Shadow Flame, is just there's Bane upcoming. So you just cleared the board, gave him a lot of armor. Bane is there, 9 damage on the board. Together with Ragnaros, you see in his hand, that's 9, that's 17 damage. And that should be the GG here for Via. But
wow,
we are not saying that's a GG, because it can be that people still don't see it. It doesn't matter how good you are, guys. It happens. And it's not bad if it happens. It's just unlucky if you actually